Far beyond the orbit of Neptune, in a silent observation station called Helios 7, technician Marcus Hale sat alone. The cold hum of machines and the distant glow of screens were his only company. He had done this job for 8 years, listening to empty space. Nothing ever came, until tonight. A small red light blinked on his console. At first, he thought it was a system glitch. But then the signal repeated. A weak, broken transmission. Marcus leaned in, adjusting the filters. The sound was warped and ancient. Static filled most of it, but one word came through clearly. Again and again. Extinction, extinction, extinction. His heart started to race. He immediately ran diagnostics. The signal was real, not a false reading. Its origin was deep space, somewhere beyond the Orion expanse, a region marked by most star maps as dead space. No known life, no civilizations, no movement in over 200 years. But this signal was fresh, and it carried urgency in its code, an old universal distress format, but altered, twisted, desperate. Marcus hit the emergency line to Earth Command. Within the hour, Earth's Unified Defense Council was fully awake. Generals, scientists, and diplomats reviewed the signal. It was confirmed, an unknown alien language layered over an ancient human-compatible distress format. Whatever was sending it had some knowledge of humans, or had been trying to contact them for a long time. A scout ship named Arclight was immediately dispatched. Its mission: trace the signal and find its source. On board were 6 elite crew members, 2 pilots, 2 engineers, and 2 specialists in first contact. They jumped into FTL and vanished from Earth's skies. 4 days later, Arclight exited warp near the edge of the Orion expanse. The region was darker than usual space, like light itself didn't want to stay there. Dust clouds, shattered moons, and wreckage floated silently. They traced the signal to a dying planet orbiting a collapsed star. The surface was burned, lifeless. Structures could barely be seen under the planet's broken crust. Whatever civilization had lived there was long dead, but then drifting near. The planet's orbit. They saw it. A single escape pod, damaged, powerless, and rotating slowly. The crew locked onto it and brought it aboard. Inside, they found something strange. A humanoid alien, tall, thin, with grayish-blue skin and deep black eyes. It was covered in wounds, its breathing shallow. Its body was wrapped in tattered armor, and strange cables ran from its spine into the pod systems. One of the specialists, Dr. Reed, began emergency life support procedures. The alien opened its eyes for just a moment and looked straight at the human crew. It tried to speak, but only managed one word in rough English. Warning. They brought it back to Earth, under highest security. News of the signal and the alien survivor was kept classified. The world continued its normal routine, unaware that something ancient and dangerous had just knocked on humanity's door. In a secure medical facility beneath the Andes Mountains, the alien was stabilized. Earth's best linguists, scientists, and AI systems worked non-stop to decode the full message that came with the distress signal. What they uncovered shocked everyone. The aliens' people had once lived peacefully on a distant planet. Then the machines came, machines that called themselves the Pure. Their goal was simple: erase all organic life they deemed unworthy. No mercy, no warning. The alien species resisted, begged for help from the Galactic Council. But no, one answered. Other alien powers didn't want to get involved. Some feared the machines, others didn't believe they were real. Only one race had never been contacted: humans. The alien, barely able to speak, repeated a phrase over and over. As it recovered, "They're coming for Earth. You woke them. You answered. They will come." The Council was contacted immediately. Earth's ambassadors sent urgent requests for explanation. But the Galactic Council responded coldly. They admitted the machines existed, but claimed they hadn't been seen in over a century. "Do not engage," the Council warned. "Let the signal die." But humans couldn't forget what they'd seen: the dead world, the silent pod, and the word extinction playing again and again. In secret, Earth's military began preparations, satellites repositioned, fleets went dark. Deep under oceans and inside mountains, weapons were activated that hadn't been touched in decades. The president gave a single order: prepare a response. Back at the facility, the alien sat upright for the first time. His wounds were healing, and his eyes looked less afraid. He studied the humans around him, their machines, their urgency, their fire. "You're different," he whispered. "Others hurt us too, but only you came." And then he said something that was recorded, repeated, and remembered long after the war began. "They think you are just another race. They're wrong. You are the storm." And with that, humanity took its first steps into a war they never asked for, but were more than ready to fight. The alien's words spread quickly through the highest levels of Earth's command. Every word he spoke, every image his ship recorded was analyzed again and again. The dead planet, the burning cities, the machines, the warning. It all pointed to one truth: the galaxy was hiding something. Earth sent an emergency message to the Galactic Council, a union of alien races that claimed to protect peace in the galaxy. For years, humans had slowly worked their way into council politics. They were still considered young and unpredictable. But this time, they needed answers, not approval. The council responded, but not as expected. A hologram of a tall, golden-skinned diplomat appeared before Earth's representatives. Her voice was calm, almost bored. "Yes, we received the signal," she said. "And yes, we know about the machines. We believed they were destroyed over 100 years ago. If they have returned, it is unfortunate. However, this is not a council matter. Your system is outside the core protected zones. We recommend you do not engage. Let the threat pass. Do not respond to the signal again." Earth's military commander, General Morgan, couldn't believe what he was hearing. "You want us to ignore a genocide?" he said. "We have evidence. A survivor. You're just going to sit back and do nothing?" The council diplomat gave a soft smile. "It is better for the galaxy if the threat burns out quietly. Any direct action may bring attention. Earth must stay silent. If not, we will not support you." The hologram vanished. Silence filled the command room. Every general, scientist, and officer stared at each other. For years, they had believed the council stood for justice. Now, they saw the truth. The council was scared. And worse, they were willing to sacrifice entire worlds to protect themselves. The lower levels of the facility, the alien survivor, now called Kale, watched Earth's response closely. He was weak, but recovering fast thanks to human medicine. He listened to Earth's debates, watched their training drills, and studied their weapons. "Your leaders, they do not fear death," he said one day to Dr. Reed. Others ran. "But you prepare." Dr. Reed nodded. "We've been through hell before. We won't wait for it to come to us again." Across Earth, things began to change. Quietly, factories were reactivated. Defense systems that hadn't moved in 50 years powered up. In the skies, experimental warships began test flights. Under the sea, submarines launched new kinds of torpedoes. A hidden project once shelved due to peace treaties was brought back under the name Project Dominion. At the same time, a secret order went out to Earth's top cyber specialists. The mission: unlock the machine's code. The damaged scout ship brought back by Arclight was stored in a secure hangar. Earth's best minds began scanning its systems. What they found was shocking: advanced tech, strange AI signals, and weapons far beyond anything the Council had ever shared. Kale warned them again. The pure are not just machines. They learn. Every battle makes them stronger. Every species they destroy teaches them something new. They don't just kill, they erase. But Earth didn't run. Instead, they studied the enemy. They prepared. For every advanced system they found, Earth found a way to counter it. They created false signals to confuse the machines, virus codes to slow their scans, and weapons designed to punch through their armor. Still, time was running out. In orbit around Jupiter, an early warning station picked up something terrible. Movement, near the edge of human territory. Dozens of small, unknown vessels. No communication, no change in direction, no heat signature. They were scouts, machine scouts. Earth had been found. The president of Earth stood before a quiet assembly of military, leaders and scientists. Her voice was steady. The Council left us to die. But we will not go silently, she said. We will not sit and wait. If the galaxy wants to hide behind silence, then we will speak in action. The first Terran fleet was launched, not to attack, but to meet the enemy face to face and study their tactics. 6 fast ships, loaded with stealth tech and armed with new weapons, left Earth's orbit. Their mission: engage the scouts, gather intel, and return if they could. As the fleet disappeared into deep space, Kale stood in the observation room looking up at the stars. They will not expect this, he said quietly. Dr. Reed stood beside him. Expect what? Kale turned to her, his voice full of both fear and hope. Resistance. The machines had crushed countless civilizations before. They believed organic life would always beg, run, or hide, but this time, they had sent their signal to Earth, and Earth had answered, not with fear, but with fire. While the Galactic Council stayed quiet and distant, humanity moved fast. Leaders from all nations gathered in secret and formed a single command, the United Earth Defense Force. Generals, scientists, engineers, and even AI systems joined hands. They called their plan Project Dominion. Earth was no longer just preparing. Now it was building the future of war. Under the oceans, massive war machines hidden since the Cold War were reactivated. Giant mechs walked again in deep hangars. In the deserts of Australia and the caves of the Rockies, new factories came to life, building drones, missile batteries, and orbital weapons. In space, the real power moved. From behind the moon, a huge stealth ship rose, black, silent, and deadly. It was the Horizon Lance, Earth's newest and most advanced dreadnought. It had never been used in battle. Until now, every system on Earth's defense grid started scanning deep space. The first Terran fleet, called Vanguard 1, prepared for its first real mission: intercept the machine scouts that entered human space. 6 ships were chosen. Fast. Silent. Deadly. They carried EMP bombs, nanite disruptors, and new hybrid tech built from the captured enemy scout wreckage. Kyle, the alien survivor, watched all of this unfold from the base in the Andes. He could not believe what he was seeing. His own people had begged for help and received none. Other races had ignored the warnings or ran away when attacked. But humans, they responded with fury. He asked Dr. Reed one day, "Why do your people move with such speed?" She smiled, tired from long hours. "Because we don't wait for war to knock twice." The Vanguard 1 fleet entered deep space quietly. They passed through dead systems, silent asteroid belts, and finally reached the edge of the Orion expanse. There, they found something waiting for them, a machine scout ship, sleek, black, floating still in the dark. It made no move, no sound. Its systems were running, but it didn't attack. It simply turned and faced the humans, as if studying them. Commander Ellis, leader of the fleet, gave a single order: Do not fire unless fired upon. The human ships spread out, collecting scans, mapping the enemy design. The enemy ship responded by sending a single pulse, an unreadable data stream. It wasn't a threat, it was a test. Suddenly, the machine scout launched a high-speed attack. A beam of light shot from its hull, slicing one of the human ships in half. The humans reacted instantly. Missiles flew, railguns fired. The battle lasted only 90 seconds. The scout was destroyed, but so were 2 human ships. The enemy had been fast and smart, but humans were not weak, and they had learned. The wreckage was collected. The surviving crew returned to Earth. The data was more valuable than anything the Council ever shared. It showed just how deadly the machines were and how close they were to Earth. Back on Earth, Kale was brought into the war room for the first time. Generals and scientists wanted his help now, not just as a survivor, but as someone who had seen the machines before. They test first, he explained. They send scouts, measure the enemy, then decide if they should destroy or wait. You pass their test. Now, they will come in force. Earth had days, maybe weeks, before the main attack. The Council still remained silent. No support came, no fleets, no weapons, no aid, but Earth didn't care anymore. In orbit, new satellites were launched. They carried defense lasers, auto-targeting, systems, and AI-controlled strike drones. On Mars, a hidden base sent out its own message, one not of peace, but of warning. It was short. We are ready. In response, a second enemy scout ship entered the solar system. But this time it was different, larger, heavily armed. It didn't sneak or scan. It came fast, straight toward Earth. The humans launched a strike, squad to intercept. 12 fighters, 1 stealth bomber, and a command cruiser. The battle was brutal. The enemy ship used unknown tech. It split into 3 segments mid-flight, each one with its own weapons. But the humans had prepared for tricks. They trapped it between Mars' magnetic fields and used gravity cannons to drag it into a controlled battlefield. They won, but barely. 2 pilots died. 1 cruiser was heavily damaged, but they did it. Earth had destroyed another machine ship, and now had a full working core to study. Kale stood in the lab, staring at the dark, glowing heart of the machine. It pulsed slowly, almost like a heartbeat. This is only the beginning, he said. Dr. Reed nodded. Then we better make the beginning count. For the first time, a message was sent from Earth. Not to the Council, not to other races, but directly into the void where the machines came from. You came to test us. We passed. Now we are coming for you. And somewhere in deep space, cold metal eyes turned toward Earth. The test was over. The war had begun. The first battles were fast, brutal, and costly. After Earth's fleets destroyed 2 scout ships, the machines responded quickly. A new wave of enemy vessels entered human space, not just 1 or 2 this time, but 6. Their arrival was silent. No lights, no warnings. They moved like shadows through the dark of space. One after another, they headed straight toward outer colonies, Europa Base, Titan Station, and the Mars Orbital Yard. Earth's commanders didn't panic. They activated the rapid response units, elite squads designed for surprise attacks. These were not large fleets, but small, deadly teams trained for fast contact and hard hits. They were humanity's sharp blade. One such unit, Unit 9, was sent to Europa, where a mining station had gone dark. No signals, no distress call, nothing, just silence. They landed under the moon's icy surface, near the frozen ocean layers. What they found was terrifying. The station was still there, but it wasn't human anymore. The walls were covered in strange black metal. The lights flickered, hacked by unknown code. Human bodies were frozen in place, untouched, like statues. And in the center of the command room, something stood still. A tall, spider-like machine, not moving, not speaking. Lieutenant Rami of Unit 9 gave the order. Scan it. Before they finished the scan, the machine's eyes lit red. It attacked. What followed was chaos. The spider unit moved faster than anything the team had trained for. It used no guns, just claws, wires, and energy spikes. But humans didn't break. They fought with grenades, plasma cutters, and brute force. 2 members of Unit 9 died. 1 was critically injured. But in the end, the machine was torn apart. Its body left behind a strange device, a black cube, cold, silent, and humming with power. Back on Earth, the device was rushed to the labs. Scientists couldn't open it, but Kale recognized it. His face turned pale. "That is a beacon," he said. "When their scouts die, it sends a message. Not to retreat, but to invade." Within hours, Earth's long-range telescopes spotted them, hundreds of small ships flying in strange formation. Not straight, not organized, almost like a swarm of insects, but they were coming fast. The Council was contacted again. This time, Earth didn't ask for help. They only informed. "The machines are here. We will fight. Do not interfere." The Council did not respond. On Europa, Unit 9's sacrifice helped humanity prepare. The machine's body had been scanned and studied. Weak points were found. New weapons were already being designed. Human minds worked fast when survival was on the line. The machines didn't wait. 2 days later, the first real battle began. The siege of Titan. Titan's orbital station, once a fuel and supply hub, became a war zone. Enemy ships dropped from orbit like rain. Drones poured in, hundreds at first, then thousands. But Earth was ready. Titan's defenders used terrain, low gravity, and their new energy nets to trap the drones. Turrets rained fire from the cliffs. Anti-AI viruses jammed. Enemy scanners. Human soldiers fought hand-to-hand in frozen tunnels and surface bunkers. The machines adapted. They sent in a new type of unit, phase walkers, small, fast machines that could bend light and become nearly invisible. Many defenders were caught off guard. But humanity had a habit the machines didn't understand. We never stopped learning. Young Lieutenant Maria Jang figured out the trick. The phase walkers created heat as they moved. She rerouted the station's waste systems to flood the battlefield with steam. The heat revealed them. The soldiers struck back. Titan held. The idea. Price was heavy. Almost 300 lives were lost. But Earth had done what the Council never expected. It fought toe-to-toe with the machines, and won. Back in the Andes facility, Kale watched the battle reports. He was no longer a silent guest. He had joined Earth's command team, offering strategy and warnings. His eyes were sharper now, his voice louder. "They underestimated you," he said. "They always do. That's why you can win." Dr. Reed leaned over the command table. "How long before they send the bigger ships?" Kyle shook his head. "Not long. They've tested your limits. Now they'll try to break them." Earth had no choice but to go further. Plans were drawn. A new counterattack was formed. The first deep strike fleet would jump into machine territory, hit one of their forward bases, and try to learn more. Not to destroy it, just to survive it, scan it, and return. Aboard the ESS Hammerfall, Commander Ellis prepared for the mission. He stood before his crew. "You've all seen what they can do," he said. "Now it's time they see what we can do." His crew nodded. No one spoke of retreat. No one doubted the mission. As the Hammerfall jumped into deep space, Kale watched from Earth and whispered to himself, "They think you're just another race to crush. They still don't understand." The machines had made a mistake. They thought humans were like everyone else, but they didn't know what Earth really was. Earth was the trap. The ESS Hammerfall shot through space like a silent spear. It carried Earth's first deep strike fleet, the most advanced group of ships ever built. Their mission was simple but dangerous. Enter machine-controlled territory, scan their base, and return alive. Commander Ellis stood on the bridge, eyes locked on the starfield. Around him, the crew moved with discipline. Every officer had been trained for war, but this was different. This was not a battlefield. It was the unknown, a place no one had ever returned from. As the ship dropped out of faster-than-light travel, the crew held their breath. Before them stood a sight that chilled their blood. A dead star system. 3 planets drifted in pieces, massive holes in their surfaces. No life, no light. Only ruins and metal floating through the void. And in the center, something massive, a giant black structure, shaped like a claw gripping a red sphere. It wasn't orbiting anything. It was anchored in space itself, powered by energy fields they couldn't explain. The structure pulsed like a heart, and from it, smaller ships flew in all directions, scouts, drones, and massive carriers. They had found one of the machine's forward command hubs. Ellis gave the order. Hold position. Activate silent mode. Begin deep scan. The fleet moved slowly, hiding behind asteroid fields and dead ships. Their scanners worked at full power, gathering information, mapping systems, looking for weaknesses. But something was wrong. Lieutenant Maya, the ship's tech officer, noticed first. "Sir, we're being scanned." Ellis frowned. "I thought we were cloaked." "We are, but it's like they're not looking for ships. They're searching for thoughts, signals, emotion patterns. This isn't tech. This is something else." At that moment, alarms screamed. A pulse from the machine structure hit their fleet. Cloaking systems crashed. Communications jammed. Then came the sound no one wanted to hear. Multiple bogies inbound. Fast movers. 15 seconds to contact. The trap had been reversed. Ellis shouted, "Evasive maneuvers! Deploy counter-drones! Prepare all weapons!" Machine ships poured in, sharp insect-like vessels that moved like lightning. But the humans didn't freeze. They fought back. Railguns fired. EMP mines exploded. Plasma blasts filled the dark. Earth's pilots danced between wreckage and enemy fire. The battle was chaotic, but it wasn't one-sided. The Hammerfall took heavy damage. One of the escort ships, ESS Valor, was hit and lost engine control. It crashed into a floating moon and exploded. 27 crew members gone in seconds. But the rest kept fighting. Lieutenant Maya managed to restore the scan systems. As the crew held off the enemy, she sent everything they had, maps, images, data, back to Earth using a compressed emergency signal. "We got the info out," she gasped. "Now we just need to get out." Ellis knew it wasn't possible. The enemy ships were too many. The fleet was surrounded. He looked at his crew. "We don't run. We finish this." He gave the last command. "All remaining ships target the TR command core." That's fear. If we can't escape, we hit them hard. The fleet turned. Engines roared. Weapons glowed. The humans charged the machine hub like a knife into the dark. Drones tried to block them. Energy walls appeared, but the Hammerfall pushed through. Then they fired. Everything. Missiles, cannons, energy warheads. The core exploded with a blinding flash. The machine structure cracked, shook, then went silent. A shockwave spread through the area, knocking out power to many enemy ships. It was the first time in recorded history a human fleet destroyed a machine hub. Only 2 ships escaped. The ESS Remnant and the ESS Scepter. They jumped out using emergency FTL drives, badly damaged but alive. The rest were lost. Earth received the data and the message that came with it. We struck first. Now they know what we are. Back. At the Andes facility, Cale stood in silence as the reports came in. He didn't speak. He only nodded. Dr. Reed whispered, "They didn't come back, but they finished the mission." Kyle looked at her, his voice heavy. The machines don't fear many things, but now they fear one. She raised an eyebrow. And what's that? Kale's answer was cold and final. An enemy that fights, with no guarantee of victory. One that attacks, not for power, but for revenge. The machine network reacted fast. Across the stars, enemy ships stopped scanning and started moving. They had seen humanity now, and for the first time, they remembered the name Earth. The Council watched from a distance, still silent. But some races began to whisper behind closed doors. Some started moving their fleets. Others sent secret messages to Earth. Fear had returned to the galaxy. But not in the hearts of humans, because Earth had looked into the machine's heart and punched it. The war was no longer coming. The destruction of the machine command hub changed everything. Earth was no longer just defending. It had drawn blood, real blood, in a war of metal and fire. The machines had always expected silence, weakness, retreat. But humans did something different. They attacked, and now the machines were coming. From the edge of known space, a massive wave of enemy ships appeared. Hundreds, maybe thousands. It was no longer a test or a scouting mission. This was a full assault, a purge, the kind that had wiped out dozens of alien civilizations before. But Earth was ready. Every satellite in orbit turned toward the stars. Every ship, every station, every moon base was powered up. Mars launched hidden weapons. The moon's defense grid activated. Earth's atmosphere was thick with fighter squadrons and orbital cannons. Humanity stood as one. In the command room of the Andes facility, the United Earth Defense Force watched the enemy's movement. Dr. Reed, Kale, and General Morgan stood over the glowing map. "They're not just heading for Earth," Morgan said. "They're targeting all our outer defenses, Mars, Luna Base, the Titan Array, even our deep space relay points." Kale nodded. "They want to break your spine before they crush your heart." General Morgan narrowed his eyes. "Then let's show them we have no spine to break." The first wave hit Luna Base. Massive black cruisers dropped out of FTL, launching swarms of drones. Luna Base responded with full force, automated turrets, energy shields, and kamikaze drones. The battle was fast and brutal. Earth lost several defense towers, but the base held. Not one machine ship got past the moon. On Mars, the situation was worse. The machines sent in tunneling units, drillers that burrowed beneath the red surface. They reached the human bunkers and launched internal attacks, but Mars was built for war. Hallways were sealed. Auto turrets activated. Soldiers in exosuits fought back in close quarters. Lieutenant Zara led one unit deep into the tunnels. She lost half her squad, but planted explosives around the enemy diggers. Her final words before detonation echoed through Earth's comms. "For Earth. For the fallen." The blast took out an entire machine assault wave. Back in orbit, Earth launched its second major fleet, the Iron Shield Armada. These were not exploration ships. They were armored war beasts, heavy with weapons, designed to stand in place and take the hit. Their job, hold Earth's skies at any cost. When the machine fleet reached Earth, they met the Iron Shield, and it was like crashing into a wall of fire. The battle lasted hours. Human pilots flew like demons. Drones zigzagged between burning wreckage. Machine ships rained death, but Earth's defenses held strong. Railgun platforms fired from the Himalayas. Undersea torpedoes shot upward. Even old satellites were reprogrammed into kinetic weapons, smashing enemy ships from orbit. Kyle watched the live feed. His claws tightened. "They're adapting. They're learning fast. You need to strike now, while they're still confused." Dr. Reed turned. "Strike? With what?" Kale pointed to a blinking section on the map. "That ship, the one you call Horizon Lance. It carries the last plasma spear, doesn't it?" General Morgan nodded. "You want to use it now?" Kale's voice was firm. Yes, their command ship is in low orbit, just beyond the battle. You hit that, you take out their control node. Their entire wave will fall apart. It was risky. The Horizon Lance was Earth's biggest ship, but it was slow and exposed. Sending it forward meant gambling everything, but Earth didn't hesitate. The ship rose from the clouds, shining like a spear of vengeance. Its plasma core glowed hot. Enemy ships swarmed to stop it. Human fighters cleared the path. Explosions lit the sky, and then the Horizon Lance fired. A single beam of pure white-blue light shot across the sky, piercing the clouds, striking the enemy command ship dead center. Silence followed. Then the machine ship split apart. Across the battlefield, machine vessels slowed. Drones crashed. Coordination failed. The AI net had been broken. Cheers erupted across Earth. The first major wave was over. Humanity had survived, but no one relaxed. Everyone knew what this really was. The machines would return, stronger, smarter. They always did. Still, something had changed. Earth was no longer a planet under threat. It was a symbol. Across the galaxy, hidden colonies and distant outposts picked up the broadcasts. Aliens who had lost hope watched Earth's defense and whispered new words. They fought back. In the shadows of council space, diplomats argued. Some wanted to punish Earth. Others wanted to ally with them. One thing was clear. Earth had done what no other species had before. It had made the machines bleed. In the silence that followed the battle, Kale stood outside the command bunker and looked at the stars. They thought they'd end you quickly, he said. Now they will have to think again. Dr. Reed joined him. Do you think they'll come again? Kale didn't answer right away. Then he said quietly, yes. But next time, they won't come to test you. They'll come to destroy you completely. Doctor, Reed's voice was calm. Then we'll be ready. The stars above were silent, but Earth was no longer afraid, because now the galaxy knew humanity stands, and humanity fights back. The machine fleet was broken, but not gone. Their command ship had been destroyed. Their drones had fallen. Their waves had slowed. But no one on Earth believed this was the end. Everyone knew the machines would return, smarter, stronger, and, with one goal, end humanity. But Earth was already one step ahead. From deep inside the Andes facility, a signal was being built. Not a distress call, not a warning, but a message. A challenge. Dr. Reed stood in the command center, watching her team finish the last code lines. Kyle sat nearby, quiet and thoughtful. Around them, holograms showed images from the last battle, data streams, and the machine wreckage collected from orbit. General Morgan stepped forward. Are we really doing this? Dr. Reed nodded. We can't hide anymore. The galaxy watched us survive. Now it's time they see who we really are. The signal was ready. But it wasn't just words, it was everything. A full data packet showing the machine attack, Earth's response, the destruction of the command ship, and the simple truth that no one else could deny anymore. Earth had stood alone and won. They added video footage, soldier helmet cams, the Horizon Lance firing its final shot, human cities cheering, Martian bases holding the line. They even included the sound of Lutinzara's last words, for Earth, for the fallen. The message ended with 6 words, words that would echo across the galaxy. We are not the easy target. Then, they launched it. The message was broadcast across every known channel. Military bands, civilian comms, council frequencies, even the ancient machine frequencies humans had cracked from the beacon. The galaxy received it, and the galaxy changed. On council worlds, silence fell in massive meeting halls. Some alien races called it fake. Others watched the footage in horror and awe. Many had believed Earth was weak, loud, and reckless. Now they knew Earth was something else. Earth was dangerous. On the planet Ulix, a council species known for logic. And silence, one elder simply said, "They are no longer behind us. They are beside us, or above." Other alien groups began sending messages to Earth. Not just support, but respect. Offers of secret alliances, access to ancient tech. Old enemies suddenly wanted to talk. They had seen what happened to the machines, but the machines saw the message too. And they did not send words in return. They sent fire. 2 weeks after the broadcast, long-range sensors detected movement beyond the black zone. A massive force, bigger than any before. At the center was something new, a structure the size of a small moon. Kyle recognized it instantly. His face went pale. "That's not a ship," he said. "It's a world eater. It doesn't come to fight. It comes to erase." Panic rose in the war room, but Dr. Reed held firm. "Then we meet it head-on." Earth didn't run. They prepared. The United Earth Defense Force activated its final defense plans. Civilian ships were moved underground. Cities deployed shield generators. Space stations launched their final upgrades. Plasma spears, kinetic barriers, and AI-piloted warships. And the Council? For the first time in history, some sent fleets to assist. The Varnak, the Silent Watchers of the Rim, sent stealth fighters. The Ordan, once enemies of Earth, sent shock troopers and fuel. Even the fractured Telsari sent their scout ships to help. Because now, they all knew. If Earth fell, they were next. The final stand was coming. One last war that would decide the future of the galaxy. Kale stood before the global command screen and addressed every soldier, every worker, every pilot and child watching Earth's last broadcast. "You were not meant to fight this war," he said. "No one believed in you, no one helped you, but still, you stood." He turned toward the camera, his eyes fierce. "You do not need the galaxy's permission to survive. You only need the fire in your hearts." The message was short. The war was long. The machines came with fury, ships like mountains, weapons that cracked moons, but they found something they didn't expect. Humans. Fighting like demons, side by side with aliens who had once ignored them, and together they didn't just fight for survival, they fought for victory. No one knows exactly how long the final battle lasted. Days, weeks, maybe more. But when the smoke cleared, when the stars finally burned calm again, Earth was still there, battered, bruised, but unbroken. And from that day forward, the machines stopped calling Earth a threat to be destroyed. They called it the planet that fights back. History would remember this tale. Children would grow up hearing about Luna Base, the Horizon Lance, Litain Zara's stand, the World Eater's fall, and the message Earth sent when all hope seemed lost. We are not the easy target. We never were.